Abhinav Pandya, there are two aspects, of this illegal influx that we have been going through, facing for decades. One is the threat to national security it poses, and the second is the pressure, the drain on our resources. On both the counts, how do you look at this challenge? And more importantly, have you been able to assess the recent drive that has been initiated? What do you think about it?
Thank you very much, Smitaji. I think this is a major challenge that India faces today in terms of national security. First, I would like to situate this entire problem in a larger framework. So there are inimical forces, particularly coming from the radical Islamist segments, and they have this idea of Ghazwa-e-Hind. So Ghazwa-e-Hind is a much broader, larger concept. The main pillar of Ghazwa-e-Hind is demographic jihad. That's how you conquer this country.
No, one second. Are you trying to say that those people who have infiltrated into our country are not coming here because of poverty, because of lack of employment, to find a better life, but rather with the intent of kind of conquering our country?
Well, let me tell you, these are very nuanced things. Definitely economic reasons are there, conditions of squalor and poverty are there, and human trafficking gangs are working. But there is a much larger agency, much larger, forces which are working at a much larger level. And those are radical Islamist organizations, with global networks. And this idea of Ghazwa-e-Hind is something which is very dominant in their mindset when it comes to India. As a part of that, demographic jihad is the most, I would say, potent and effective way of implementing Ghazwa-e-Hind. I mean, it's much more powerful than your other instruments like terrorism, etc., running proxy organizations. If you are able to manage, or if you are able to completely change the demographic composition of this country, then I think that's the best and the most effective way to achieve Ghazwa-e-Hind. Now, as a part of that, this illegal immigration of particularly Muslim migrants from the neighboring countries, from Bangladesh, it kind of constitutes a central pillar of this strategy. Now, I'd like to say, mention briefly about the dangers that they pose. Definitely, they are a drain on economic resources, and I mean, they take away the resources from government schemes and all. But they are the issues. I'm mostly concerned about the security aspect of that. And in terms of security, it's a major threat. First of all, it's an attack on your civilization. It's an attack on your civilizational values and ethos, and you can compare this situation to what's happening in Europe right now. The refugee invasion in Europe, and it's visible in many European countries. You can see that they are capturing institutions. In UK, most of the mayors now, most of the mayors are now Muslim mayors. And there are mayors who are directly supporting Al Qaeda, who have fought cases in the past for Al Qaeda. In New York City, you have someone like Mamdani, who has never been shy of expressing his sympathies towards these Islamist organizations. You have senators like Ilhan Omar, who have never shied away from nurturing ties with the global Islamist groups. You have communities from Somalia, Lebanese groups, who have maintained ties with the terror organizations across the world. Likewise, these illegal immigrants in India spreading across the country, they can facilitate all kinds of anti-India activities. Sleeper cells are running in those groups, and even in Bangladesh, groups like Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Ansarullah Bangla, they have deep penetration among these groups, so their handlers are recruiting people from them, and whenever they are coming to India, these are very orchestrated moves basically, and those handlers stay in touch with some of the main coordinators here, and these people can facilitate terror financing here. They can facilitate the sheltering of terrorists who are coming to India. They can facilitate movement of weapons, and they can also facilitate the propaganda and information war. When suppose, for example, the anti-India forces, they hire some human rights organizations, or let's say media group, then you have a ready supply of this fodder who is going to cry and tell their sob stories that we are getting oppressed and all. And once you start the drive, again, this is going to foment unrest in India, because the Indian Muslims are most likely to perceive this as something which is anti-Islam and anti-Muslim community. And the last part, whenever there is a riot in a city, and today in the world of artificial intelligence, social media, it's very easy for foreign forces to orchestrate a massive riot in the countries. And in those riots, 200-300 people can die at a short notice. So these forces, these illegal immigrants can join the forces, can join the rioters, and they can wreak havoc.